Hello, all, and welcome to WWJPS. This is your host, Vanessa Pinto speaking. Now, today we're going to have a special episode. Today we're going to be talking about our president, Donald Trump. I found some video of him.
Taxes! Your taxes!
Whoopsie, I think I just confused myself with him. Whoops. That's not him, though I do find what is this guy, Prince John? No, this isn't Prince John. This is just the horrible brother of King Richard, and this is obviously Disney's Robin Hood. But since we're talking about robbing the poor to feed the rich, I do feel that he is a good stand-in for our president. But let's not talk about that. Our president did something incredibly embarrassing, and I want to talk about it. Donald Trump is a man who needs to be respected and feared. He needs that for himself. You know, that's why he's putting his face on the passports now, on dollar bills, on every building he can get a hold of, because no one respects him. That's why he loves, Kim Jong-un and Putin and all those people. And he says, those people stand up for him. Well, yeah, they're dictators, and he wants us to do that. We're just not going to do that. We're not his loyal emissaries. What does that loyalty get you from Donald Trump? Does it get you a job? What about saving your actual life? Because it turns out Donald Trump left his cabinet and the press to die after he got a credible death threat. And they didn't know until after they landed that they were in the plane marked for death. One sec, let's get that video. There is just no one quite as good as Lawrence O'Donnell, so I'm going to let him take it from here.
Bravery and all-around tough guy toughness. And that is what makes Donald Trump's secret flight out of danger uniquely undermining to both his own self-image and what he wants his most fanatic supporters to believe about him. Donald Trump has asked the world to see him as a movie hero, the physically bravest president ever, when he is clearly
The man can barely walk. He can barely walk. He only stays awake during the day before he's sundowning all night on Truth Social. Racist, rapist.
Laziest president ever,
That's
who
true.
obviously spends more carts than he does thinking about governing, which obviously he never does.
Oh, I forgot about golf.
Donald Trump is the only president who has, in effect, asked to be compared to movie heroes. And so, Peter Baker of the New York Times wisely turned to Andrew Marlowe, who wrote the screenplay for the 1997 giant box office hit Air Force One, starring Harrison Ford, as the bravest president ever imagined by Hollywood, who has to save everyone on Air Force One, including himself, after the plane has been hijacked.
Oh my God, I forgot this was an actual film. Oh my God, I forgot this.
Spoiler alert, President Harrison Ford did the impossible and, of course, personally killed the hijackers. Up until last night, that's the way Donald Trump wanted his most fanatical followers to see him, as the Harrison Ford president who would personally kill anyone threatening Air Force One. Screenwriter Andrew Marlowe sees a problem for Donald Trump, the movie hero, in the way he chose to escape danger by boarding a secret flight out of Turkey while leaving Air Force One to take off.
So, number one, what I love is that he is the bravest man ever when he's not. He's pissed off, I don't know how many entities in the world. And he gets a threat. And then, to make matters worse, he literally had that question, would you rather take Marco Rubio or the bitch that prints everything for you? And some people say, fucks you. We're going to find out.
As a decoy plane full of government officials and reporters who would have been the targets of the threats against that plane from Iran that the Secret Service responded to by secretly moving Donald Trump from Air Force One to another plane.
My favorite part of this story is that it got leaked, right? Because this happened a minute ago. And I remember when the news coverage first broke, before we knew about the catering truck and, all of that business. But essentially, they were already talking about they want to kill him. They always want to kill him. That's every day. I think that's when the blue and white, our loyal ally, tells him that they're trying to kill him more, and then he believes it because, it's all mush up here for him. Now, what you have to understand with these people, as they've sold their soul to this man, Ball, and whoever else will get them their money and power, right? So, they all think they're special, right? They all know they're replaceable, like Hegseth. They all take a beating from this man. But ultimately, they think they're special. They think they're protected. Well, we're going to find out who are daddy's favorite kids.
Turns out he wasn't alone. The Washington Post reports the Deputy Chief of Staff, Dan Scavino, Executive Assistant and Trump's, quote, human printer, Natalie Harp, and also the Director of Oval Office Operations, Walt Nauta, all joined Trump inside that catering truck, headed for a separate...
Donald Trump, Dan Scavino, his Chief of Staff, the Executive Assistant, the human printer for him, who's also madly in love with him. She sends him notes that even the Secret Service were deeply concerned about. I don't think she's just his human printer. Let's see, the Oval Office Ops Director, good old Walt, and then Kegsbread, the rapist, who wants to make our army white nationalists. They actually did just legalize rape again in the military, but that's another video for another day. Anyhow, let's keep finding out about Daddy's favorite children and the bad ones.
Plane, while the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, boarded the flight using the plane's external stairs. Meanwhile, Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Secretary of the Treasury Scott Bessent were sent on the decoy flight, along with policy advisor Stephen Miller.
Stephen Miller, the cuck of all cucks. The guy whose wife is always in some sort of sex scandal. I believe right now it's with Eric Swalwell, a Democrat. And then there were the rumors with her and Elon Musk when she was with him for a minute. And now there's the rumors of Steve Bannon. But how could any woman cheat on a man that handsome with those bulging frog eyes and that deep hatred in his heart for anyone that's brown and that spindly way, he just cruises around the walls. And then there's Scott Bessent, the billionaire with absolutely no clue as to what happens. He is convinced that the economy is doing well because Americans are using their credit cards a lot. And Marco Rubio, well, good old Marco Rubio, he has bent over backwards for the ally, for the Trump, for everyone. And Marco and Scott got left behind. Wah, wah, wah. And now, the way I have heard it, it's that Mr. Rubio has been blackmailed by a greatest ally because he is a homosexual and he does not want anyone to know about it. But I feel like his demons have gotten a little worse, and maybe that's why he was marked on the death plane.
The show a lot today. Shout out to this guy. Bro is 100% coked out. That's a man who's been hitting the slopes. So the speculation is that Marco Rubio, or as now how everybody on the internet is referring to him, is Narco Rubio. Narco Rubio here is in full Miami mode. He's in full Miami mode, and you're about to see he's got all sorts of fucking sniffs and twitches and touching and moving and this and that. And it looks like he might be into some of that booger sugar, y'all. That's what it looks like. So let's take a look, and then we'll do our little diagnosis.
Yes, sir. Vladimir Putin today.
I thought you were introducing yourself.
No.
Vladimir.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Oh, we can just stop it right here. That's exactly the face of a man on cocaine, a person on cocaine. There's a few drinks mixed with that, maybe some Adderall, but just in that right there, that man is coked out of his gourd.
What are you doing here?
Next year for PBS NewsHour. Vladimir Putin had his own end of year.
Okay, so that lip thing that he just did?
Yeah, that tongue thing. Yep.
That's a coke thing.
Yep, it sure is.
Details emerging about how President Donald Trump flew out of Turkey last month. The Washington Post reported Trump boarded Air Force One in Ankara, then moved into a catering container attached to the plane, which then...
That makes sense because I was wondering how he would fit in that little thing with the, with the drinks and the wine that they bring by. But a full truck, understandable. Steve Miller and Marco Rubio, they were not on this plane. They were not. They did not get to be saved. Well, that's all she wrote. Our president heroically snuck out of a plane into a catering truck while he sacrificed the press, Stephen Miller, and Marco Rubio to take his place on the death craft. I'm going to close this episode out with some footage from Trump's childhood.
Mother always did like Richard best.
Apparently Trump did this a lot in his childhood.
Please don't do
Very
that.
much in
You see, you have a very loud thumb. Hypnotism can rid you of your psychosis.
I think that's how he gets his diet. Keep it real, folks. We're going to have another one today. I've been working diligently on my mind control episode. So today we're going to have a fun What's on My IG. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.